Hello, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me today. I'm curious, how would you describe this film for those who have yet to see the film?
It's a documentary comedy. It's a film about our deepest desires and our deepest wishes. It's slightly provocative, with, I think, good sense of humor, and with a lot of very surprising situations.
You mentioned the documentary part. I was curious how much of it is documentary, how much of it is unscripted, and how much is more narrated by you.
I'm a little bit shy to say that, but I'm a very bad scriptwriter. Even in 2021, we got the Best Script Award for 107 Mothers, but I don't know to write scripts. I just copy and paste reality. So during the 7 years of making of this movie, I spent really a very lot of time with the protagonist. And I had my small notebook, and when I just saw something, I just wrote down it like a detective, like this might be interesting, this might be interesting. And then I just asked to do it again. Or there were a lot of situations where they just surprised me, because I do not speak the language, I don't speak Italian. So even we made a deal that we will film something, the protagonists just changed their mind and did something completely different. It is real in this case that I basically never asked them to do something specific.
But the profession is real, the person. Okay. So then, how did you come across her?
Actually, my scriptwriter and a co-producer from Italy, Erika Barbiani, she's her client, and she was wishing to be a successful writer and to have a baby. And after she was a successful writer and she had a baby, she decided to make a film about it.
Did you meet all of the clients beforehand, and did you kind of get a feel for who did you want in your film?
I met probably 50 clients without a camera, and having just coffee interviews with them. Then we made with 15 clients long interviews. It was 5 full filming days. And then I edited it, and I saw who is interesting for the camera and who has some energy. It wasn't an intellectual construction. For example, by Valentina, the butcher's wife, I just loved her smile. It's fantastic. And I said, I won't have her. And I knew that behind every human being there is a strong story. So there can be a really interesting story about anybody. And I was obsessed by Valentina's smile, so I want to have her in the movie. And this was the selection procedure.
Absolutely. And then you joined the twins on the real vacation that they took on their birthday as suggested.
The true thing is that all the trips were really on the day of birthday. Production-wise, it has no logic because it makes everything much more complicated. But I said, we are working with magic, so let's trust to magic. Something will happen. I don't know what. Something will happen. And usually, these were the most magical moments on the real birthday. For example, the plot twist with Barbara, we were just in Taiwan, and there I saw the fortune tellers. And I thought, it can be funny. She's with the astrologist in Italy, and let's make a short interview with a fortune teller in Taiwan. And that was a turning point for her story that I was not expecting. So I really love to work with these surprises, that you plan something and something completely different comes out.
How much money did you then spend on? Okay, I'm obviously not going to give you the figure. I'm just so surprised that you would go on all these trips with the protagonists.
Actually, to be honest, the trips were the cheapest part of the filming. Because nowadays, okay, you need to buy the tickets to Taiwan and accommodation, but anyway, all the other prices, the camera rentals, worldwide they're basically the same. The most expensive part was to film in Italy with Luciana in her office, because we spent there really a lot of time. With Luciana, we spent, I even don't know if I'm allowed to say how many days, but it was a plenty of days. Because I knew that from these clients, I have to get the emotions, and it needs time. They're not professionals. You cannot tell them, okay, now tell something emotional, now cry. They are not actors. So you have to wait for it.
But how difficult was that for you to do all of this in a language that You just mentioned you don't speak Italian.
Actually, that was the best part. Mentally, I went back to my very, very early childhood because I'm Hungarian, grew up in a Hungarian family, but living in Slovakia. So my parents, and at home we were just speaking Hungarian, and my parents, they throw me to the kindergarten, like to a deep water, like you will learn Slovak there. I didn't understand the word. So I had to guess what the people try to tell me. Not from logical, from understanding, but from emotions. And in the same situation I was during the filming. So I was not concentrating on what they are saying. I think there are a lot of documentaries where the director is just concentrated like, yeah, they said this interesting, this interesting. For me, not. And I was concentrating just on emotions. And I was watching to if the eyes of the protagonist are shining or not, on their smile. And of course I got translations, but always 20 minutes later. And there were a lot of situations when I said just to my translator and to my cinematographer, we have it. And they said, how you know? And they said, I see it. And yes, that were the best parts of the interview.
I read in a previous interview where you said, I think, that you were perhaps too extroverted for a usual documentary approach where you, fly against the wall, where you take a step back. So do you think this language barrier perhaps helped you to overcome this?
Yes, because I couldn't interfere with them, so I had to completely change my style of filmmaking. And this disadvantage, I think, turned to advantage, because I think it's a much more cinematic film. A lot of people don't trust that it's a documentary. A lot of people think that it's completely staged with fantastic actors. And I don't care.
I'm also curious because we can tell that you love your protagonist, that you really care for her, but there's also room to perhaps doubt this whole business. So I'm curious how you approach the perhaps, I don't want to say ethical, but whatever an audience feels, towards the whole science-bad astrology.
I think Luciana is a fantastic therapist. I think it's the same like with filmmaking. You can learn a book how to make a good film, but you will be not a good director. You need a personality, you need a character. And I think Luciana is this character. It's not about rules. It's about interpretation. And I think she's a fantastic therapist. Her clients are too shy to go to the therapy. With the interviews with her, they spent 1 or 2 hours telling their deepest secrets. And exactly how I was not understanding the language, I could see the change of their faces. I could see how they are tense and worried in the beginning of the interview, and how they are relaxed, really revealed, and even they are crying and everything, but at the end, happy at the end of the film.
Did your protagonists, or did your I don't want to say cast, but your people, they saw the film already?
Oh, yes. That was a very important thing, also coming from the language barrier, because it's a lot of humor there. I tried to smile with them, not on them. When we finished the film, I started to have huge doubts. So I made a very dangerous thing. Even we had a very safe contract. I showed Erika, the producer, showed the film to each of them, asking for approval. Nobody wanted changes, so I'm very happy.
And lastly, I wanted to ask you what it means to, you won the award 3 years ago, the Screenwriting Award. What does it mean to present your film back here in Venice?
First time when we were showing the film here, I thought that it's a very lucky mistake that the programmers did. It's a matter of accidents and good luck. Now I'm happy to come back here and feeling that I belong here. It's a very good feeling.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.